When I was selected to play for St. Vincent, I was 19 years old. 19 years old, man. Out of secondary school. 4 wickets came back to St. Vincent and was dropped. So listen to me. My life was never easy, and there was a big thing in St. Vincent. You know, people want to fight. You know, people want to fight. Yeah, people want to fight for me. The thing about it is, a lot of people like they're so fearful of change. You can't be fearful of change, because if you have something good, you can't hold on to something good to get better. You have to let go good to get better and best.
Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Sayersworldtv. Molten Sayers alongside CP Borg. Today we'll be having another conversation with former St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Windward Island and West Indies speedster Garner Curtly. If this is your first time to our channel, why not subscribe, like, and hit the notification button so when we upload a video, you'll be the first to get it. And please don't forget to leave your comments. Your feedback is always greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching.
Vincent, you're listening to Vincent Internet Radio. We have with us this afternoon former St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Windward Island and West Indies fast bowler, Mr. Garner and Curtly. Curtly, good afternoon and welcome to Vincent Internet Radio.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Also, we have with us the host for the program, Mr. Molten Sayers.
Good afternoon, CP. Good afternoon, Garner Curtly. Welcome to Vincent Internet Radio, man. Welcome to our program.
Hey, good afternoon to you, sir. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you again, too, man. And I just want to
been a very long time.
Yeah. I just want to say a pleasant good afternoon to our Facebook listeners and listeners around the world. And you're locked out to Vincent Internet Radio. And thanks again for tuning in. I just want to let our listeners know that we have the privilege today of having a conversation with one of our Cameron. Should I call you a legend? You got to be a legend.
No, I'm actually okay with whatever title you want to add to my name. It's all right.
No, I said later on, listeners will understand why I want to brand you as a legend, because you have some unique records behind you, which we're going to go to. But as I'm saying to our listeners, former St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Windward Island, and West Indies speedster, Mr. Garner and Curtly. Cameron, again, welcome to our program. I just want to, let us know, your journey from your humble days, how it all started for you back in, I don't want to say South Shores, but I'm gonna let you tell the listeners where it began, the rich vein of cricket.
Well, that's actually where it actually started. It's from South Rivers days. I was born in South Rivers, born 1970. To my mom, Eunice Campbell, and my father, Randolph Brewster. But South Rivers has a very, very rich history of cricket. South Rivers has had produced quite a lot of cricketers, a lot of cricketers that a lot of people never heard about. Mm-hmm. But growing up, and it's just because, back in the days, cricket was, centralized. That's why a lot of those, cricketers from South Rivers never really got the exposure. But, I can say that my journey actually, was basically those cricketers actually, paved the way for a guy like myself, Dighton Butler, even Orvin Warrican, the late Orvin Warrican, because he was born in South Rivers, but he grew up in Connery.
So you claim him as a South Rivers man now?
No, he has always been a South Rivers man. He grew up in Connery, and God bless his soul. He's not here today. He would have, gladly, said that he's from South Rivers, because his grandmom. That's that's where he actually started. But back to the days of South Rivers, as a young boy growing up, every Sunday, used to have quite a lot of cricket being played in South Rivers. South Rivers has at one time, different areas, different packet in South Rivers has, its own cricket team. Where you have, small areas called like Jarvis, Cane Hole, Crocker Crow, Wrong the Road, Up the Road. We have, we used to have a lot of cricket competition going on. And, I also came from a family that played cricket. All my siblings, my brothers, my brother who was a former assistant commissioner of police, Leonard Brewster. He was the captain of a cricket team called Trojan back in the days. I've never seen him play, but I've heard that, they had a decent cricket team. Also, there was a team that was captained by Hainsworth Andrews, including guys like Sherman Hackshaw, Derry De Silva, Michael Bruce, let's call him Broxy, was one of the hardest hitting batsmen, in the region. So as a young boy, you grew up and you see, you've been exposed to cricket. And I would have played for South Rivers team at one stage during the days when we had organized a group called Papas that was organized by Augustine Ralph, to try to keep, most of the young boys in South Rivers, just try to keep us, out of trouble and try to steer us on the, the right path. So I grew up, playing as a young boy, probably in the around age 10, 11, 12, playing cricket. And I must say, in terms of getting more technical into cricket, it wasn't until when I attended the St. Martin Secondary School from 1983 up to 1988, 89. And that's where, I was, under the guidance of Coach Bradley Brooker, and with encouragement from guys like teachers from like Ezekiel Killy Williams and Scatter Butcher. Those were the guys who really, encouraged me and helped me to try to, discover that talent that actually propelled me, towards greater things. So, from playing secondary school competition, that's basically when I started to, believe in myself and then, playing for rivals, because St. Martin's cricket team actually basically was a cradle for Rivals Cricket Club, because Bradley Booker being the coach at the time and also a member of Rivals Cricket Club, a lot of us actually went on to play for Rivals, including myself, from St. Martin's. But before that, from secondary school, we actually played in the third division. Bradley Brooker actually organized a team called Touch Colt. So Touch Colt basically was basically under 19 cricketers from various schools, St. Martin's Grammar School, because the late Peter Campbell also played for Touch Colt. He attended St. Martin's as well. He went on to Grammar School, and that was a transition between playing under 19 and playing club cricket in St. Vincent. So we went from St. Martin's into third division, and then from third division we went into playing into the Premier League. I played for Rivals with Carlos Vera, who was the owner of Rivals, and Brian Alexander being the captain at the time. And it was a decision that I never regret, getting the opportunity to play for Rivals, because as coming from I should say humble background, financially, financially challenged, situation. And, I got the financial assistance from guys like Carlos Vera. God bless his soul. He's no longer here with us today. And also Brian Alexander. I can never, express my, I can never stop express my gratitude towards these two individuals, because a lot of persons doesn't really know, but those were the two persons that really, assist me, in a big way. And playing for rivals, Carlos Vera is the one that, he was just like a father to me. He encouraged me, to stay away from stuff like drinking alcohol, smoking, and stay focused on my academics, staying focused on, always going to training, working on my game. So, sometimes, you need, that sort of individual in life, like a mentor, because, my life could be totally different today if it wasn't for, the guidance of these two individuals. Because my mom, she migrated into the United States in 1982. I was 12 years old, and I was living with my brother. And my brother being a cop, he hardly home. He's always on the job, and most of the time I was left by myself. So being on your own, there's a lot of things that could have gone wrong. But as I said, from school days, I have guys like Bradley Brooker, Ezekiel Killy Williams. Those were the guys that always encouraging me, make sure that I attend practice and always there. Carlos Vera always called me and, you go and practice today. Sometimes he picked me up from home, take me to practice. And so, that was, I really gotta, comment. I can't even, express, my gratitude to these individuals. So, that's basically the journey. But as I said, the journey was not an easy one, because as I said, sometimes, there's all sort of distractions, and sometimes you have to be focused, focus on what you want in life. And, it's not only for cricket, it's not about cricket, it's just life in general, because sometimes, people can easily let astray. You get yourself involved with bad company, and, you end up, on the wrong side of the law, but, I was pretty much grounded. And, with my brother being a police officer as well, I also have that in mind that, you don't really want to do anything bad that can, bring some sort of,
put some attention to human.
Exactly, attention to your family and all of that.
But Cuffy, you're making it sound, you said it wasn't easy, but you're making it sound easy, like you just left country and jump into teams. Tell us about the days, because we want to know when the transition really happened from, let's say softball to the hardball. Because I remember, I know a little bit of your story, because I remember you guys going and pick a whole banana thing of grapefruit, sorry. So I know you were a man who started from the grapefruit days, because, economically we couldn't afford to buy balls. So, sometimes some of us were so fortunate to ever even touch one of those balls. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, tell us how it started, like.
Well, the thing about it is that this is something that is tradition. This is something that is culture. You started up, financially, you could not afford to buy a cricket ball or buy a cricket bat, because it's very expensive. So what we did, we'll get the dry coconut branch, and we'll shape it into a bat. And we'll pick up. There are many times I think probably I probably owe a lot of persons in South Rivers a lot of money for for all the grapefruit, the young grapefruit, because those fruit was some of these persons from South Rivers. This is where they actually got an income. True. By selling grapefruit and oranges and anything of an oval shape, breadfruit. These are things that they sell to traffickers, and these traffickers will take all this stuff to Barbados or Trinidad, and they make the money. And then sometimes we have to hide away with the young grapefruit. Sometimes we pick like a whole crocus bag.
True.
And we have it, and you know, we play cricket in the morning. You get up all in the morning, especially when school is on vacation. You start playing cricket in the morning, then you take a break, you get hungry, you know, you go by the riverside, you get some fish, you know, you put on a pot, cook some river fish, and then you come back in the after lunch, you start playing cricket again. You know, you get hungry. So cricket basically is part of our culture. You know, so the whole transition from that, you know, it was when we actually formed the team, because and as I said before, Sayersworldtv has you know, a big team, you know, captained at one stage by Andrews, and there was a small team that was captained by Chris Ralph. The small team comprised of Chris Ralph and guys like Gail De Silva. You have Hansel Jack. You have Erickson Bruce. All of these guys, and these guys was decent cricketers. So as a young boy, you know, you're around the team and you start to get a feel. You know, you get very fidgety. You see those guys with the pad. You want to put on the pad. You know, they have the pad. You want to put on the gloves. So you start to get the feeling, and then you know, you start to, you know, before the game, you take the bat and someone get an old ball and they start. You might probably bowl some for turn over your hand, bowl a few deliveries, you know, to get the guys them going. So basically, that is where it actually started. But my very, very first hardball game I remember was playing against Fancy, because, and I'll get back to this in terms of community cricket. All right, because, you know, back in the days, Sayersworldtv used to have two teams. Park Hill have a team, Canary have a team, Byron, all of these community have cricket team. And we used to have exchange matches. We used to call goat match sometimes.
Goat match, yeah.
Goat matches. And cricket was strong. And all of that spill down to our local competition, our national competition, Windward Island competition, and right up to West Indies competition. So West Indies cricket was strong, and that's why West Indies was dominant, because you have cricket all the way right down to village cricket.
True.
You understand? And it's just because a lot of guys never really get that exposure, because a lot of cricket, you know, St. Vincent was centralized cricket. You have to be playing cricket in town in order to play for St. Vincent on one stage. So all the talent, and I'm telling you, there was talent out in the countryside that was a lot better than some of these guys who went on to play for St. Vincent and play Windward Island. But it's just because those talent was never I mean, they never discovered. True. So it just died, you know. So back to the whole transition, you know. So that's my first game was a goat match. Sayersworldtv versus Fancy, and I remember
in Sayersworldtv or in Fancy.
Well, we had the first game. We had the first game in Fancy, and then we had a return game in Sayersworldtv. So the morning we went up to Fancy early, and you know, back in the days when you have those games, you get the early, you have breakfast. And you know, Fancy is a fishing community. So you get your sweet bread and your marby before you get the because like the cocoa and all that stuff. So when you have these games, and you know, boy, early in the morning we're going Fancy, we're gonna get food. You want to be there because it's like an incentive. You know what I mean, to want to be on the team. But then it was way more past than, you know, beyond the food. But because at the end of the day, it's because of the love that we have, and we grew up actually loving cricket, playing cricket. So my first game was actually in Fancy, and Augustine Ralph was the captain. He decided he's gonna give me the new ball, and I remember Sinclair DeSantos, we call Bones.
Yeah.
You know, he was mad. He was mad because he didn't get the new ball. But then that's you know, getting the new ball, and you know, the kind of feeling as a young, I mean, what 13, 14, and Augustine Ralph decided, okay, all right, I'm gonna give him the new ball. I'll give him the new ball, and you know, that's where it started. That was the whole transition, and I never really looked back from there.
Wow.
Never looked back from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I must say, well, my first hardball game was in South Rivers with the Connor youth team playing
Okay.
a team from South Rivers, and it was also one experience. And again, for the listeners, when you go to cricket in South Rivers, it's like you're in Annisville too, because everybody's into it. You know, there is I think the woman there, they call her Theo.
Yeah, Theo.
Yeah,
Well,
she was like if she was on the cricket team, you know.
Well,
so
yes, because
yeah.
also South Rivers had a woman cricket team. So when you talk about woman cricket now, that have been South Rivers been, you know, established in terms of women cricket team. When you have ladies like Rona, I think she passed away.
Yes.
You know, there's quite a few ladies that actually started out, you know, playing cricket in South Rivers as well.
And
and as I said, playing cricket is always fun because the location, even though, you know, the ground is actually situated, you know, on a riverbed, you know, the whole entertainment where you have the Africano disco. So, you know, it's just like, you know, cricket today where you have cricket playing in South Rivers, and, you know, during the break you'll have being entertained from, you know, melodious songs from Africano disco. And at the end of the game was a good match. You know, sometimes, you know, that's where you have your food, and, you know, at the end of the game, you know, guys party until you know, late in the night. So it was fun.
Sure, like the game wasn't even finished yet, and you're thinking about the party, you know.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sochi was the best place.
So, who, apart from, you know, I'll leave that for later on, but no, let me ask you now, who did you look up to coming up at that time? I know, you know, apart from the guys in South Rivers, who nationally did you look up to in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, when I, you know, growing up, apart from South Rivers, when I attended St. Martin's Secondary School, an evening, you know, I used to go to the grammar school ground. There was a concrete there. Sometimes we go down to Sand Hill on the concrete an evening, because sometimes there was so many folks, you know, at Sand Hill, at Arnisville. But when I first went to St. Martin's, this guy, what's his name? He's from South Rivers. Icon Haksha. They call him Chocho. He was the first guy who actually introduced me, you know, to go and practice. And he gave me, you know, one of those rubber ball we call a gutta poker. And he got a poker, you know, and he actually had me bowling to him, you know, all evening. So that's where it started. So, and then once I went down to Arnisville, and I saw Dean Clouden. I saw Sin Murphy. And I standing by his side, and I saw these guys bowling on the concrete. It's half a concrete, and the kind of pace that these guys was generating. I mean, I was looking, and I couldn't even see the ball. When the ball hit the concrete, you know, the keeper in the back just collecting the ball. And I said to myself, boy, yo, I would like to bowl fast like these guys. And I remember, you know, going and, you know, I bowling and you know, just in my back and my mind, I just really wanna, you know, bowl as fast as these guys. But listening to cricket back in the days, I always like to listen when guys like Joel Garner, you know, Joel Garner and Andy Roberts. I mean, back in the days, you know, you listen to cricket, you know, through the transistor radio, and you know, those commentators back in the days, you know, the way that these guys was descriptive in their in bringing the game to you. Sometimes you feel as if, well, you were like right there. You know, it's not like these commentators these days. You know, when you listen to cricket from back in Australia and England, and those commentators, and you know, they will describe the atmosphere, they describe the ground, the surrounding, and you know, everything. You know, the way that the batsman dressed, and you know, and you know, so it was so you know, as a young boy listening, you I always try to emulate the Joel Garner, and probably because more so my height. But then after he retired, and then Curtly Ambrose came on the scene, and then that's the person I really admire.
Okay, so I'm gonna let CP jump in, but let me ask you just one thing before. So, who did you call yourself growing up then? The critic, because all of us. Who did you call yourself?
Well, as a little boy, you're running up and say, okay, I'm gonna be Michael Holden today. Yeah, little boy, you want to be Michael Holden. When you bowling, and sometimes and back in the days, you don't even have on a shoe, it's barefoot,
True.
The pitch is hot, and but you don't even feel it because you love the game so much that a lot of these things, you don't even know. It's like after you realize, and you sit down, and then your bottom feet start to burn, and you realize, oh man, you probably spend like all 2 hours playing cricket, but it's just because of the love of the game, you don't even pay attention to these things. And it just basically has to do with more a psychological thing, because psychologically you're focusing in on the love of the game and playing the game, and you don't even you ignore certain things.
I must let you know in the beginning that my grandmother, originally from South Rivers, she's a hatcher from South Rivers, and I'm related to most of the hatchers there in South Rivers. So if you want to claim me, you can do that as well.
Not that. I just believe that the entire South Rivers, Park Hill, Canary, Byra, because you can walk from South Rivers. There's a back road from South Rivers, and you get to Byra in no time, because I remember I used to go to Mount Williams to get coconut shell, to bake your Saturday bread and your cake and all of that stuff. But then the point I'm trying to make is that it's just one community. I believe everyone is related in some shape or form. South Rivers, everyone is related.
let me intrude since you're talking this, because my grandmother is from South Rivers and my mother was born in South Rivers, and I lived in South Rivers for 1 or 2 years too. So maybe that's where my cricket came from too. So.
No, man, South Rivers have a rich history of cricket. Rich history of cricket, and way before my time. Hearing conversation from the the older folks that and talk about some of those guys who guys like Clem Louis, and if anyone from South Rivers is listening, they will know some of these persons that I'm talking about. These guys have their own cricket team. Oddly, I can't remember his last name. All these guys have cricket team. So South Rivers has a rich history of cricket from way back. So and it's just sad to see, even though that the infrastructure is a lot better now than what we had, and folks are really playing cricket and utilize it for to play cricket. And because let's face it, man, cricket changed my life. If it wasn't for cricket, man, we would not even be having this conversation today, and in a big way. Because cricket cricket took me to all parts of the world. I made quite a lot of friends. I meet a lot of people, a lot of different culture. Also financially, because coming from where a humble background where my mom 10 children, and her father was never wrong. And the struggle. So there were times when I sat down and then you wonder, what's gonna happen, and it just happens to me. Cricket just changed my life, because I'm telling you, man, I'm so grateful for cricket, man. I'm so ever grateful.
That's why we bring people on this program, really, basically to tell your story and let people know exactly where it started and where you went to and where you plan to go
Yeah,
in the
man.
future.
Yeah.
So you start playing local cricket. How does it feel at the first call up for St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, I must say, man, it was a joy, man. It was it was an honor. When I was selected to play for St. Vincent, I was 19 years old. 19 years old, man. Out of secondary school. My first game was in St. Lucia. I got 4 wickets. 4 wickets, came back to St. Vincent. I was dropped. So listen to me. My life was never easy. You understand? Could you imagine you're on a winning team, you got 4 wickets, you came back to St. Vincent, you got dropped the game against Dominica. And that was a big thing in St. Vincent. You know, people want to fight. You know, people want to fight. Yeah, you don't want to fight for me. You know, because
I remember that well.
Yeah, you understand? So then the third game now, the third game against Grenada, because of the pressure on the captain and the selectors, I was included in the 11. And I can't remember, I think that was 1989. And the bowling attack spearhead by myself. I think Lauren Baptiste was also on the team. And our representative at the time came to look at the game. Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, now the Prime Minister. And he said, for the guys who played, was myself and Warwick from his constituency, $20 for each wicket. And you know, among us, Warwick and I got 11 wickets in that game. Wow. And I think Warwick got probably 8. I think we took 19 wickets. So I got so in 2 games, 11 and 4, I got 15 wickets in 2 games. And my first year playing for St. Vincent. And there was no looking back after that. All right. And from there, I was not even included in the training for the Windward Island. And it happened. So there was an individual who actually a spinner from Dominica who got injured, and I was called up to replace the person. You know, and this was trials. You know, this was trials. It was trials. And then, you know, I did so well. I impressed so well in that trials, and I was on Windward Island team.
Yeah. You make the Windward Island team, and you're very impressive in the first season that you play for the Windward Island.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tackle you a little bit.
Well, that was my introduction, and I was happy that I was introduced, you know, at a very, very early age to that kind of you know, batsman the caliber of Viv Richards, as we all know, is the greatest. Is the greatest batsman. And you know, it was a game against the Leeward Islands in Grenada, and you know, I've never really, you know, been exposed, you know, to you know, that, you know, this sort of opposition, you know. And I remember, you know, my ball being hit all over the ground, and the master blaster, he just walked down the wicket and just tapped the wicket, and he said, youngster, you're bowling well, but you're bowling to the master blaster. You know, keep going. And I never stopped. But in the back of my mind, I'm just saying, it's just a matter of time. I'm gonna get this guy out. And it happens to that Linton Lewis. You know, we don't long off running and took a brilliant catch. And actually, that was my first class wicket. I mean, it was a good introduction to cricket. I mean, it's not like you started out being successful. You started out, you know, getting that exposure where, hey, you know, this is how it's gonna be like at times where you know, you're gonna get destroyed. And there's gonna be time when you're gonna be successful. So I really welcome that sort of introduction to first class cricket.
And I
But the thing about it, what I did, I kept my cool, and that's what I have done throughout my entire career. Always keep your cool when you're playing and be patient.
I remember the late Bobbin Warwick told us in an interview that when people just get all caught, he came into the battle and said he wasn't middle in the balls.
No. He actually said, he didn't realize he was out, he was walking back to his man.
Well, yes, you are. You're right. Warwick was part of that team. Yeah, 1991, he was part of the team. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, that season, I think he did well from that season. That season, when that season ended, the next year was 1992, and I think I played 2 games because you have Winston Davis came back, and Neil Williams every year, you know, after playing county cricket, he used to return to St. Vincent and play for the Windward Islands. And you know, I have learned quite a lot from guys like you know, Neil Williams, you know, God bless him soul, he's no longer here with us. Winston Davis as well. And you know, but you know, used to have like a lot of noise around. Oh, those guys are robbing a youngster for place on the team, but I never really see it that way. You know, because the wealth of knowledge and experience that these guys, you know, brought to the team, it was more of an asset more than a liability, because we learned tremendously. We learned tremendously from these guys in terms of, you know, different technique, you know, wrist position, you know, the way that you hold the ball, you know, sometimes, you know, the ball is not swinging, you know, sometimes you try a little cross seam, you try all the little stuff. So sometimes, you know, it's always nice to have, you know, experienced guys, you know, like that in the team where you can learn from, because I mean, if you have a bunch of inexperienced guys, I mean, who's going to learn from who? You understand what I'm saying? So you need to have a balance, and that's what those experienced you know, guys, you know, brought to the team, is a balance that they brought to the team. So in 1992, you know, I only played 2 games because, you know, until Winston Davis decided to call it quit, and when he called it quit, you know, I was included, you know, which I was, you know, happy for, because he actually said to the manager, hey, might as well you all bring in Cameron, you know, because, you know, my days are over. And, you know, that was commendable of him, you know, to actually do something like that. And I ended up playing 2 games in 1992, 1993, played quite a few more games. And then the big year was 1994. That was my big year. You know, I played 5 games. I ended up with 24 wickets at an average of 13. I think I was second in the overall, you know, average. And during that year, England was touring the West Indies, and I remember playing with President 11 against the English team, touring team in Guyana, and didn't get any wicket, but pretty much very impressive. And at the end of the game, I came back to St. Vincent, went back to work. I worked at Cable and Wireless, for 11 years, from 1990 to 1991, and I received a phone call from England, from the director of cricket. Sorry. I was shocked, you know, when I got that phone call, and you know, he, you know, have a conversation. He said that Alex Stewart saw me in Guyana, and he was very, very impressed, you know, with my performance in Guyana, and you know, he just want to know if I would like to, you know,
be part of the, the sorry team for the season. And I said to him, hey, listen, man, when you send in the ticket, and I remember, when I got the contract, I remember I was at I think I was playing for St. Vincent, and was Dougie knows Joseph. He probably might be listening now, because every time he always, because we actually, I think he gave me a ride. Him and Keith Joseph, we went to the post office and collect that, and I actually used his pen to sign the contract. So you all say, you remember that pen? You remember that pen? I lent you my pen, to sign the first contract. So, that's that year. I was contracted, Sorry County, for that season, and I did reasonably well. I think at the end of the season, I probably got something like 40-something wickets. I'm like probably subject to correction. And I remember one I think we were up in Somerset, playing against Somerset, and one evening I was, in the hotel, and Alex Stewart called me, and he told me that he got a phone call from the West Indies Cricket Board, tried to contact me, to inform me that I'm selected on the West Indies team to tour India in 1994. Man, I'm telling you, man, that was just the happiest time of my life, man. I mean, tears come from my eye, man, because it was tears of joy, man. Because, when I really look back and, all the struggles, sometimes, man, struggle to have food to eat, you grow up, you don't even have a pair of shoes, you only have one pair of pants, seeing pants, your son the best, you have your son the best, you gotta go Sunday school in that, and then come Monday morning, you gotta wear that to school, so when I really look back on the struggles, and then, and then to move on and play for the West Indies and start on decent amount of money, I can help my family and help myself. Yeah, man, it was a joy, man. It was a joy. So I always have to say thanks to cricket, man. Thanks to cricket. Even though sometimes people use it in a negative way. Sometimes I laugh. You know what I mean? Or if you never play cricket, nobody will know you. You know what I mean? But it's true. It's true. It's true. But then, you gotta be known by something. But then I was known by something that is honorable. And I make my contribution, and I'm always still open to make my contribution. Even though I live in the United States now, and after cricket, I migrated to the United States, because even though at one, I'm still a level 2 coach, because I have my certificate. Even though I decided that coaching was not my thing, because I was always believing in academics, and from ever since I started playing cricket, I always want to go back to college. That was always my plan from day one. I want to, because I went to school with some guys, and when these guys talk about going to universities and going to college and that sort of stuff, that was the kind of mindset I have, back in the days of St. Martin's. But it happened so, cricket, came in place, and I, that filled the void for a little while, and then I just decided, okay, all right, I'm gonna migrate to United States, because I'm a green card in 1999, because my mom, she had been living here, and I just decided, okay, all right, after cricket, because sometimes sports is just temporary, and sometimes you play sport, and sometimes an injury can just end your career, and you always want to have something that you can fall back on. And I always want to have some sort of university or college degree, because with knowledge is very, very powerful, and no matter what, that is something that's going to take you through life. Because if you don't really have that, even though you have money, sometimes you need the knowledge to manage that money, So sometimes money is not really all of it. I am more, always encourage, some of my, former teammates, to, try to develop themselves. Sometimes it don't really have to be, academics, where, you go to school. It can be a skill, if you're very versed in a skill, sometimes, you can try to get as much knowledge in that field and try to develop yourself. So that's what I did. And in after my cricket career, over in 2004, last time I played for St. Vincent, and I also went to England on a contract, and I went back home and I lay on my bed, because at that time I'm 34 years old, injuries, you're not getting a lot of wickets, and then I just sat down and said, hey, what next? And I just decided, hey, this is going to be the move. And I came to New York and did 4 years in college. I continued in the field from cable and wireless telecommunication engineering. I did a 4-year degree in telecommunication engineering technology. And I also went to the struggles here, do all kind of odd jobs, do a little construction work, clean out basement, throw away garbage. You know what I mean? It's just a struggle, you know what I mean? And, it's nothing to be ashamed of, And I remember being in college and working on a project with a guy from Ecuador. And, those guys have full-time job. I don't have a job. So I decided to take on the project on my own and work on the project and did the first draft. I sent it to them and, take a look. And, they were all okay with it. So we submitted, we got an A. So the guy from Ecuador, he said, I like your work ethics. And so I said, he asked me what I do. I was like, man, I'm looking for a job. He happened to be a manager for a telecommunication company. The next week, I have the guy looking for me. I met him. He says, I have a job for you. The guy hired me out of school. That's how I got my first full-time job. So sometimes, it's just your attitude, man. You have to have this good attitude, man. And sometimes attitude and mindset, that's what is important. And I worked 4 years with him until I realized that, it's time for me to move on to another company. And I just keep on bouncing. 2 years with this company, 2 years with that company, because I know exactly I want to work for the city of New York, because I need a pension, and that's where I'm at right now. So sometimes when you set yourself, you got to set yourself a goal, and you have to have strong willpower. You just got to keep on pressing. No giving up, man. No giving up, man. Once you decide this is what you want, there's gonna be obstacles along the way, because there's a lot of obstacles, but I never give up, man. I just keep on pushing, and I use all my cricket success, because there's a lot of setbacks in cricket as well. I remember in 1994 when my first tour to India, we went to India and came back, and there was another tour to go to New Zealand. I got dropped, and in India there was like we played like 20 games. I played 18 out of the 20 games. And there were guys on the tour who only played 2 games, but they were on the team to New Zealand, and that was another big uproar in the Caribbean. And I was dropped. So and all of these things is nothing to be mad about. You learn from these things, because this is part of life, and failure and success goes hand in hand. People, sometimes you always figure, okay, all right, some bad thing happened to them, and they get upset. But when good thing happen, they feel good. Sometimes you have to feel good about the bad things too, because this is how you learn. Because if your life is all about success, you're not learning anything, because there's nothing to learn. You get me? So it's just and then sometimes people complain too much. People need to change their attitude. You know what I mean? If you never change your attitude, you're always going to be in the same situation where you're in. You know, it's all about attitude, man. And the thing about it is a lot of people like they're so fearful of change. You can't be fearful of change because if you have something good, you can't hold on to something good to get better. You have to let go good to get better and best.
All right, in case you just joined us, we're having a conversation with former St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Windward Island, and West Indies Mr. Garner and Curtly. Curtly, I'm going to pick up on the India tour there, where I recently saw a clip, and our listeners can also go on your Facebook page, or I think they can even find it on YouTube.
Yeah. When
you were bowling to the little maestro there, Sachin Tendulkar. I mean, in my opinion, because you got Tendulkar 3 times, I think probably in that series, or you thought, if it was a different situation, people would have referred to Tendulkar as your bunny. You know, there was on the clip, it showed where you beat, I think you bowled a couple of wides and then you beat Tendulkar, or in your opinion, you got him out and the umpire didn't give him, and you were furious.
I think that clipping is in Trinidad.
Yeah, in Trinidad. Right.
In Trinidad, yes. In Trinidad, okay. Yes. Yeah,
right. Yeah. And then I think the next ball, I think he clipped you for 4 or something, and the commentators were saying, "Oh, they should take. If I was a captain, I would take him off." I think he was either the next ball or very next or 2 balls after you got him out. What was the feeling like in that over specifically?
Well, I mean in that over, the ball was reverse swing. You know, when I say reverse swing, the ball was swinging with the rough side. Normally is swinging with the shine side. Normally conventional swing, you have the rough side, you have one side shine, and you know it goes towards the rough side. So the ball was doing a bit of reverse swing. I just decided, okay, hey, I believe I'm gonna get this guy out. Because you know the thing about Tendulkar and those guys, they grew up on those wickets in India where they're very flat and they like to play on the up, they like to play across the line, you know, and a lot of risk. They play a lot of risk. You play with a lot of the risk. And I just decide, okay, all right, hey, you know, with the first delivery that I strike him on the spot, and the umpire think in his mind that he was going down the leg. I just decided, okay, all right, hey, all I just need to do is just stand a little bit straighter, because I think I was leaning over a little bit and try to push the ball down the leg. So I said, with the ball reverse swinging, if I can stand a little bit straighter. So that was all in the back of my mind, just stand a little bit straighter. Same delivery, I'm not changing anything. All right, you know what I mean? So sometimes you go for runs. But then at the end of the day, once you attack in the stumps, once you miss, then so that was the mindset. And it happened. So you know, I got him out. But I mean that Tendulkar is a hard guy to bowl too. especially in India, and the sun is hot and the wicket is flat, and you know you're running in, and these guys just pressing the ball through the covers all day. And you're wondering to yourself, I mean, what can I do here, you know, to get these guys out? You know, I mean, playing cricket in India is a challenge. It's a challenge, man.
Yeah, but well, you did it, man, and I'm telling you, like, when someone like you, a Vincey, whether it's a batsman, a fast bowler, much less a countryman, is propelling to that level or making success. Like when you got him out in those situations, like we all, like you made our day. No, it wasn't even a matter of winning or losing. It's like when the countryman performed, he was, you know, just it seemed like, you know, you guys, you, Warwick and Dighton and you know, a few others, Linden. You know, we have to mention Linden when they talk about South Rivers man who propelled.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but then there's Roland Wilkinson. There's a lot of guys who went on from, you know, went on to play for St. Vincent. And if I forget Dighton Butler, if I forgot anyone else, you know, forgive me, you know. But you know, quite a lot of guys, you know, and you know, it's always a nice feeling, you know, when guys that you grew up with, and you know, and you know all the struggles that we all went through, and you know, for these guys to actually make it to the top, you know, it's a real good feeling.
And Cuffy, before I dive into the records and stuff like that, let me just amplify what you said about success also, because you said earlier that you played in Guyana and you didn't get any wickets, but then when you think you got a call from Surrey, although you didn't get any wickets, you got a call from Surrey, so that itself is a success. So I always tell people sometimes success is not the actual prize that you get, you know, is how you go about doing your business, you know. So you know, look how far that call you know took you. So people have to understand success sometimes, you know. And talking about success, let's go to one of your unique records that I don't think will get broken in any time. You have, I don't want to get it wrong, you know, you bowled 10 overs, two maiden, 20 runs, and listen to this, folks, no wickets. And he got the man of the match when and no runs, he didn't make any. and there were bowlers, there were bowlers who got 3 wickets. But Cameron Cuffy's spell was so important and so vital to West Indies winning that no bowlers, they said no bowlers went for less than for under 30 something, under 34 runs. And Cameron Cuffy got the man of the match. That boy, you must really cherish that trophy at home, man.
Well, the thing about it, if you look at, you know, the context of the game, because I mean it was like a high scoring game against Zimbabwe. And you know, the first 10 overs, because those guys who say, hey Cameron, just give me my 10 overs up front, you know, and I just lock it down from the first 20 overs for them, and that was it, and that basically just set the stage, you know.
So do you think you would, or how do you think you would have paneled with the 20 over side of the, I know you play some amateur 20 overs, right? But on the international scene, how do you think you would see yourself as a T20 bowler?
Well, I mean, it's kind of difficult, because I mean now with T20, it's a batsman game, and also it needs. I probably would have to go back to the drawing board, you know, in terms of working on variation. Even though I was very economical, you know, and I was very, very consistent, because the way I used to train, I used to just you know, just put down you know, like mark a little box in a certain area, just like target, just put the ball in that area all the time. Bowling to one stump, like the off stump, focusing on bowling, you know, getting the ball close to the off stump. But then that would have not be sufficient into the type of game. You know, you have to come up with, you know, getting that Yorker, you know, getting that slow ball. You know, you have to have all different type of variety, because you know the wickets are a lot flatter these days. I think batsmen are more technically sung in terms of the technique. A lot of these guys, and I mean, the kind of batter some of these guys have, you know, it's like these guys just like stroking the ball. You know, once they make contact, that's it. So, you know, you have to be like, in terms of being consistent, I mean, I think I have that part, that area covered. But in terms of working on varieties, like getting the Yorker, be precise, and you know, all of these other variations, you know, I probably would have to do a lot of work. You know,
I love this section. You have to bear with me, because this section here is deep now. You were saying about the varieties. So you got injured, and you had to cut down your speed a little bit. Right? But I heard Ian Bishop was commentating, and he said Cuffy is capable of bowling at, I don't remember how many kilometers, but you know, very, very fast. And now he has to cut down his run. And he was questioning why Cuffy doesn't use his faster delivery that he's capable of bowling to this guy's the batsman. Why you never went back to the fast, your quickest delivery? Well, it wouldn't be quickest, but you know, quicker than occasionally, as this guy's ball.
Well, I'm not really too sure about that because I know I have really checked the record and I have clocked in the 150. If you really check my fastest delivery.
Right.
But then, as I said, I mean, once you get in, once you start to get a bit older and and being injury prone, I must admit to that, because at a certain time, sometimes you try to exalt yourself and you end up with all sort of injuries. And sometimes it's just about preservation. You try to preserve yourself, and hoping that you probably I could have last a bit longer. And but I'm not too sure about Ian Bishop. I'm wondering why I didn't go try to bowl fast. because you try to bowl fast, and a lot of things can happen. I mean, a lot of those guys who bowl real fast, the Brett Lee, back injury, actor, all of these guys. So sometimes
not even that. I think Bishop went through the same thing that Bishop went through also, because he also had to come down to another level.
Exactly.
But I mean, he know more than this. So I was just, it's a question something that left in my mind when I was listening, when I was watching the game. Bishop was saying that. So I go like, I hope one day I get to ask you that. Why you never use that fast ball that Bishop spoke about?
No, because when Winston Davis was one of the fastest bowler in the world, and then during his twilight of his career, he cut down his run. Because sometimes yes, guys be running like 20 something yards, but do you really need that? At the end of the day, is the impact when you hit when in the moment of delivery, is the impact, wrist position, all of these things are very, very important.
True.
You can be the fastest sprinter. That doesn't mean that you're gonna bowl fast. True. If you don't have the proper biomechanics in terms of body alignment and wrist position, because you got to make sure that all of the momentum is behind the ball. And it's very, very important that the wrist position is key. You have to have that wrist position right. If the wrist position is not right, then you're not gonna be bowling fast. And Winston Benjamin will tell you that, because I've seen Winston Benjamin bowl off 2 steps and bowl very, very fast. So it's arm action, arm speed, all of that.
True. So they compared you to Patrick Patterson, or like I said, they wanted you to be pretty much the
well, no, I must. I think it was Ambrose. I'm coming to it. They compared you to Patterson for the way you run up, and then they compared to Sir Curtly Ambrose, for the height and all that. How do you feel with that? Do you think that you had a fair run in terms of to fulfill your true potential? Like, I mean, consecutively. I'm not talking because I think 4 years after you went back and played for West Indies again. Do you think, because we know of a certain bowler, we can always say, because the whole world knows it, that Marvin Dillon has been molded for that position to replace these guys, and yet he never fulfilled his potential, but he got more opportunities, I think, than any other West Indian bowler. Do you think that you had enough chance to fulfill that? Well, the only time I feel I was hard done was after that tour of India. I really feel that I should have been on that team, to New Zealand. And I've never really got an opportunity to play, and in those areas where I think that those conditions would have been more suited for my style of bowling. I mean, most of my cricket was in the subcontinent, in India. Seems like every time I picked a tour to India, my name was like first on the list. And those players is very, very hard.
Yeah, they're very tough.
Those players are very, very tough to play cricket, and it's hard to get wickets. It's hardly have fast bowlers.
Except if you have real swing with you,
No, but then in 1994, the executive, we played the last test match in Chandigarh, and we need to win that match to draw to level the series. And it happened so that there was some sort of dispute between the BCCI and the executive in Chandigarh. And they decide they're gonna give us a grass stop because you're not showing up in India like the day before. You know, you go to the ground for practice and you see a lot of grass. But then you show up the next morning, day of the game, you know, all the grass gone. So we went to we went to Chandigarh, and you know, it was a grass stop. We day of the game now is the same grass stop. So everybody started smiling. And I no, because you know, I remember that game, because if you remember that game, Prabhakar, Coney Walsh, he got hit to the helmet, to the visor.
Yes.
His nose was broken. And it's the first time I've seen all the great Indian batsmen run from fast bowling. Because it was some serious fast bowling. Coney Walsh, Kenny Benjamin, myself, and this comments. And I remember I took the last wicket because India made, I think, was 1-something. And that was the same series when Jimmy Adams got the nickname Padams. You know, because in that same match, I think he scored 170 something, because it was a good series for him. I think he came back with an average 100 and something. You know, so you know that series is the first time in India where I see, you know, you get a fast stop. You're not gonna get no pitch that's gonna suit fast bowling. But the point I'm trying to make is that you know during my time, all of the games that I most of the tour, all of my games that I played for the West Indies was basically in India. I played 15 test matches. 9 of it I played in India. 9 out of the 15. So when you have tour going to England, you know, where I think, okay, all right, I probably would have do well in England, you know, with my consistency and with the ball move in England. I think really truly I think I was hard done, you know, not to really get a tour to England, you know.
So I just want to ask you, so St. Vincent and Grenadines, you know, like South Rivers, they have a rich vein of fast bowling. You know, I'm talking about just players who propelled to the West Indies team. You have yourself, Winston Davis, of course, McLean, Ian Allen, Kenwright Peters, Dighton, Neil Williams, who played for England and played a few games for Rhode Island and stuff like that. What do you think is the key there for success with St. Vincent and the Grenadines and fast bowling? What do you think we have above, you know, the other, let's say, Windward Island islands like Grenada and St. Lucia, Dominica? What do you think we have, you know, what tool we have above more than them that we can produce, you know, these vein of fast bowling?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it has to do with our ancestors. You know, which part of Africa, you know, we are from. But I mean, it's very hard to pinpoint. You know what was the you know the reason, you know, for St. Vincent, you know to produce, you know, quite you know so many you know fast bowlers. I mean, one thing I probably you know like to say is probably, you know, it's kind of hard.
Is it possible that let's say everybody was motivated by the next crop was motivated by Winston Davis, then the next crop motivated by Garner Curtly, because traditionally,
but who motivated Winston Davis? You know, but before that,
maybe
you know what I'm saying? But the thing about it, no, but the thing about it, I think you know, when I really look around in St. Vincent, there's quite a lot of fast bowlers that never really get exposed. And as I said, you know, growing up, we always, you know, listening to cricket. I'm not sure if we as youngsters listen to more cricket, and we always try to emulate like some of the great guys like the Andy Roberts and all of that stuff. So I'm not sure if that has to you know, play a role, you know, because most of you know, growing up, you basically you want to bowl. True. All right. And you know, for me, when I was growing up and going down to Honest Bay, when I see guys like, I mean, there's a lot of fast bowlers I think that could have you know, make it really, really, you know, very far. You know, from South Rivers, you have guys like Sherman Sheep. That guy was very fast. You have Derry. You have I saw Stoddard. I forgot his first name. He PhD. I saw Hainsworth. I saw my brother. I saw you have guys like Martin Quashie. You have guys like Augustine Ralph. You have guys like Chris. All of these guys were bowling fast. All right. So I mean, everybody, because the thing about it is that I think it's a more, you know, being a fast bowler, to me, it's like, how should I say it? You know, I mean, everybody want to be a fast bowler. True. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why, you know, we probably produce you know, so much fast bowlers. You know, I'm not sure if I really you know, answer your question properly, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to answer. You know, but then I mean, that is something you know, probably someone need to try to research.
For the size of the island, believe me, it's very unique. You know, it's very unique for the size of the island. Like, you know, we're not a Trinidad and we're not a Jamaica. You know, so it's very unique. And what's very unique also is you and yourself and Nixon McLean created history again to be not only two Windward Island bowlers, but two Vincentian fast bowlers opening the bowling for West Indies. I think did against Zimbabwe.
Well, against Zimbabwe. But then let me get back to that. But I'm wondering if it's because of our height, because predominantly, I mean, I'm 6'7", Nixon is over 6, Davis is over 6. Well, Neil Williams learned most of his trade, but he's a decent height. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I mean, when you look at guys also, I saw Jerome, what is his name? Jerome. They used to call him Big Board. They used to call him Big Board. Samuel. So, no, but this guy, I think this guy had real potential. He probably could have easily gone on to play for the Windward Islands, having not been for, you know, when he played for Sion Hill, you have like guys like at the time you have Winston Davis and those guys were playing, so it's kind of hard for him to. And he was very, very tall. You know, so I think maybe you know, we in St. Vincent are taller than those cricketers in the other islands. So maybe the height has to do with it.
Maybe, but
I remember when
I think what he was saying, Cuffy, is that one time there were four fast bowlers on the Windward Island team from St. Vincent. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, yes. You have myself. Oh, well, probably 5. You have myself. You have Nixon McLean. You have McNeil Morgan. You have Ian Allen, and Casper Davis. And Casper Davis is a very tall guy too. So maybe genetically we probably are from a different the same place in Africa. So maybe, you know, it's possible. It's possible that our ancestors from one part in Africa were maybe Senegal, because in New York everybody always think I'm from Senegal, because Senegal actually have quite a lot of you know tall black guys. So probably because of our height.
Because you have Keswick is a tall guy too.
Keswick is a tall guy. McCoy is a tall guy. You know. So it's a possibility. But I mean, that question is kind of hard to answer. You know, they had to do some real deep research, you know, to actually find what's the reason why St. Vincent of all the Windward Islands have produced so many fast bowlers, because predominantly we actually produce all fast bowlers, apart from Will Slack, who was a batsman, play for the that's about it. But you know, it's all fast bowler. Kesrick Williams is tall, you know. Dighton Butler is decent height.
True. For what was I going to say? You went through the ranks of the under 23 for West Indies. What was it like? Who tell us? Who were your teammates at that time? After that, I'm going to let CP come in. Who were your teammates and who were the opposition players from the other team who came into the international scene?
Yeah, that under 23 team, I remember we went to Bermuda. We went to Bermuda on a tour, and we also played against the touring New Zealand team. The under 23 team, you have Dave Joseph. He had played for the West Indies. You have Robert Samuels. He also played for the West Indies. Who else was there? Nehemiah Perry. Who else? I remember there's a guy, Nigel Francis, but he didn't get on to the West Indies team. He played in that game as well. Nixon McLean actually played against New Zealand, because in that game, Nixon McLean and I actually destroyed New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah, we destroyed New Zealand, and during that team when New Zealand tour to the West Indies, who else was part of that? I really can't remember all those guys. It's been a long time.
Who from the New Zealand team propelled to the New Zealand international team? Do you remember anyone from there?
Well, that we played against. It was New Zealand, and that was a national team. That was a national team. Yeah, it was a national team. I remember also Richard Staples. He was also part of that team as well, but he never really went on to play for the West Indies. But he was a very, very decent player from Jamaica. I think he lives in New York now.
Coffee Sochi was then only produce male cricketers. There's I think it's Janila Glasgow. She's been selected for the West Indies team. So you guys been producing female cricketers as well.
Well, that's true, but as I mentioned earlier, South Rivers had a female cricket team back in the days. So it's South Rivers had as I said, a real history of male and female cricketers.
We must say congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to her.
West Indies team as well. So you went to Australia 1 year. When you were called up by the West Indies cricket board to replace someone, could you remember the series?
Yes. I think that was in 1996, and 1996 I also toured with the West Indies A team to Sri Lanka, and I was the best fast bowler on that tour. I remember it was my very first 10-wicket haul was in against on that tour to Sri Lanka, and I think Courtney Walsh. I think Courtney Walsh was the captain of the team. Also on that 18 tour to Sri Lanka, Otis Gibson was also on that team. But the reason why I'm saying all of this is just to just get up to how I was actually being selected to replace that the individual who I think was Kenny Benjamin, either Kenny Benjamin or Nixon McLean. One of those, I think it was Nixon McLean I had replaced in Australia on that tour. But that tour, that 18 tour, I think I got like 15 wickets, and they wanted a replacement long before, very, very long before. And I think they wanted Otis Gibson. They wanted Otis Gibson, but Otis Gibson, I mean, he hadn't really done much on that tour. And the manager at the time for the A team was Joel Garner, and he's from Barbados. Eustace Gibson from Barbados as well. And Gus Logie was the coach. And Garner said to the management team in Australia that, hey, listen to me, the only person I recommend is Cameron Cuffy, because he's the guy in form. And that was delayed. I think they wanted Eustace Gibson, you know, but Garner, I always have respect for that guy. You know, he said, listen to me, I'm not gonna sanction this, you know. If you guys want him to come, you guys can, you know, but. And then he actually reported to the board and said, hey, listen, the guy who's in form, this guy just got 10 wickets. And, you know, Eustace Gibson refused to bowl, you know, in one of the matches that we played in Sri Lanka. And they delayed it until, you know, the last couple of matches. And I remember then the tour of Sri Lanka 18 tour finish, I went to St. Vincent, when I could have easily gone from Sri Lanka to Australia. But I went all the way back to St. Vincent, and then after, I think there were like 2 or 3 games left, and then they called me, and then I went to Australia, and I think this fast bowler from Barbados was on the team, Patterson Thompson. This guy was on the team from the inception, and when I got into Australia. Like 7 o'clock in the morning, and they had a game like around 1 o'clock, and they wanted me to play. And the manager, you know, said, no, you can't. You guys, you know, been traveling for like a whole 2 days, and you know, you gotta let the guy rest. And the last test match which I played, I was selected in the 11. So you know, before I asked Courtney Walsh, the captain, I said to him, how come I can make 11 and you have guys that was on the tour from day one, you can't make the 11? And he was like, well, he's not bowling well. But I remember that same year, because the same match, I go back to that match against New Zealand when Nixon, that's how Nixon got selected on that team to go to Australia. It was from his performance against New Zealand. And I remember Courtney Walsh, he came to me because he came to Grenada where we played that game, and he said, listen, I need a fast bowler, you know, so just go out and do your best. And Nixon, we actually destroyed New Zealand. And I was not selected. I was selected on the 8 team to and I remember I think it was that same year I got Greg Bloat out for 99. I think it was that same tour.
Because I remember some of the commentators say, if we're going to bring you over here at this time and let you do so much.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it just goes to show, you know, some of the politics and the insularity in you know, that, you know, we face in West Indies cricket, you know. But you know, as I said, you know, I've enjoyed my time, my 15 test matches and my 41 one-day international. You know, we can always look back and, you know, these are just memories, you know, me for my kids and my grandkids, you know what I mean, to, you know, there are little video clippings on YouTube, you know, so, you know, they can sit back and enjoy some of you know, some of my exploit during my time of representing, you know, St. Vincent, Windward Island and the West Indies. But you know, the insularity in West Indies cricket have always been there, and you know, I've experienced it, you know, so. But that's how it is. That's life.
We talk about your cricket and your test matches. I'm going to give a little bit of your test matches. You play 15 matches, 26 innings. You bowled 3,066 balls, 1,455 runs. You have 43 wickets with an economic average of 2.59.
Yeah, well, you know, I've always you know, I remember one time, you know, playing with Coney Ambrose, and he said to me, man, the wicked dead, you know, the wicked dead. So if you can bowl it wide outside the house, just bowl it wide outside the house on ball day, let them come get you. You know, you don't go and get them, you know, let them come and get you. You know. So you know, he was trying to tell me, you know, hey, listen, don't give them anything. You know what I mean? And you know, I've always tried to be economical. Like, if I'm not getting any wicket, why should I give you runs? You know, so that was the whole mindset.
That was what it is. When you're not getting wickets, you're not going to runs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
To sum it up, that's why he got the man of the match with the wickets. So Curtly put instill something good in him. Good discipline.
That's good discipline. Yeah. You know, but you know, when I look back, you know, it was fun. It was fun. You know, cricket is fun. You know, you get a chance, get an opportunity to travel. I mean, the first time I actually left St. Vincent was because of cricket under 19. You know, Northern Telecom, 1988, going to Barbados. But I'm telling you, man, that night, you know, man, you know, I don't want to miss the plane, you know. I ain't sleep, you know, I up. I can't afford to miss the plane. My first tour. So recently when I heard a guy got dropped from West Indies team because he missed a flight.
Two flights.
He missed 2 flights. You know what I mean? For important tournament like World Cup. You gotta be mad. You know what I mean? It just goes to show that, you know, the current set of players, you know, they don't have no interest in West Indies cricket. And the reason being is that with all of these professional leagues around the world, no, a guy can get a contract, you know, to play a T20, and he's a millionaire. Mm-hmm. You know, whereas you know, West Indies money is small, it's peanut change. Mm-hmm. You know,
that's what I was coming to, you know, because you said, you know, cricket helped you, you know, to you know, put a little money in your pocket, but if you look at a player like you didn't even get, not only you know, guys like Viv Richards, even Lara made a lot of money, but Lara had, you guys had to play more games and work a little bit harder for the money these guys are making for one league, and still they have fitness issues. Yeah, they have fitness issues. They can't, and the drive to play for West Indies is not there for them. But for you guys, it was just pure passion.
Yeah, but I mean, some of those guys, like you mentioned, some of these guys only make like money off royalties. Like you know, Viv Richards, you know, he probably get like you know, little jobs here to be like a mentor
or a speaker.
You know what I mean? But then the thing about it, the amount of money that is in the game right now, and I think because if it wasn't for West Indies cricket, a lot of these guys wouldn't have never get a contract to play in a lot of these leagues.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to, you can't be ungrateful. You can't be ungrateful because West Indies is West Indies cricket that made you who you are. So at least you need to at least give back. You know what I mean? Make yourself available. You know.
But Cuffy, when you're 25 and you don't want to play for West Indies, your stocks are gonna drop. You know, because as soon as you're not performing in the leagues, nobody wants you.
Nobody wants you.
When you're not playing international cricket, you have to be exceptionally good.
Nobody wants you. So then you need to sit down and have a dialogue with the West Indies cricket board, because at the end of the day, you know, it's sometimes hard when you see someone put like $1 million in front of you and say, hey, I'll give you $1 million, you know. And then because a lot of these leagues are scheduled during the time there's like a conflict when you have all these international engagement, and you know, so sometimes, you know, they really need to organize the schedule, you know, in a better way, so at least, you know, guys can at least be available, you know, for to render the service to West Indies cricket, because I mean, West Indies cricket really need these guys. They need these guys because, you know, that's why, you know, we're not really doing well.
We have to play qualifiers now because guys weren't available during the time to play.
You know what I mean? because you can't make yourself available when you feel like, when there is no international, when there's no T20 where you can make the money. Come on, man. At least, man, you know, give back West Indies some of your time, man. You know, because I mean that's where it started for you. You know.
There's one cricketer who said that he's going to play for the West Indies and his terms. That is what I can understand. West Indies is your employer. You're giving them an option. You're going to put on your terms. I cannot see you making West Indies team for the World Cup and then put them on the World Cup team.
Well, if you got to make the statement that you're playing for West Indies on your term, I mean that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Because I mean, who are you? You know, to say, okay, you know, you're not a Viv Richards, you know, and not even because I mean, look, the chief selector. Remember how he got dropped from the West Indies team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He missed a first-class game, you know.
One game.
One first-class game, you know. You understand me? And he got dropped from the West Indies. He even took the West Indies cricket board to court.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when players, you know, I mean, who is in control? Is the players in control? It seems like the players are in control, you know, to say, okay, when they want to play. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, what happens if you're not performing? Are you gonna say, okay, all right, I'm not performing, I'm ready to play for West Indies? What do you think is like? I mean, come on. You understand? And then for some of these selectors, you know, too, is like they're begging some of these guys to come and play. I mean, it's a waste of time.
True.
You know, to be begging players, it just goes to show that the situation in West Indies cricket, where you have to be begging players, which means that we don't have the talent. If you have to be begging players who don't want to play to come and play. You know what I mean? And no, I mean that's probably one of the reasons why what we suffering, where we have to go and play qualify. In the history of West Indies cricket, you got to be qualifying to go World Cup. That was automatic. West Indies team was automatic to World Cup.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it might as well you just probably just get a bunch of young under 19 and just say put them in a training camp for like a good year, and that they just develop the skills and just put them on the West Indies team. And you know, you have to West Indies board have to be more in control of the resources, and the resources are the players. It doesn't seem like they're in control of the resources.
That's one of the problems I have with the West Indies cricket board. They seem like the players make the decision rather than the West Indies cricket board making the decision. So I guess we have to put that in place, our cricket keep doing them.
No, of course, you have to be in control. You know what I mean? It's just like, look at India. You think any of those Indian players can say, okay, all right, hey, I'm going to play CPL?
No way. They
already have measures in place that no players ain't playing out of India. You have to get the approval of the BCCI. Some of those guys are going to play county cricket. Yes, county cricket. They're going to play county cricket. But you don't see how much Indian guys you see playing CPL? Or you see like Big Bash and all.
Let me interject. There a few about a year or two ago. I think before the COVID, one of the Indian players went in the dressing room in USA. He went to USA just to hang out in the dressing room, and it was a big deal.
A big thing, yeah, big deal. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show that the control that the BCCI have on the resources, the West Indies don't have that control, and that's why our cricket is just like that right now. You know, and if this continue, where every year, West Indies going to, and all right, talking about rebuilding, man, listen to me. I think they stop use that term now. I think they stopped using that term now, rebuilding, because I mean, since way back in 1995, we've been hearing that coaches been saying, oh yeah, it's a young team, give them some time, we're rebuilding, and look now it's 2022. You can't be using that same thing now, that same argument. What else he gonna be using? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's like. A lot of people they just give up on West Indies cricket right now, because one time West Indies, some of the guys them run hot, and then next time they just run cold. They're stringing a few good performances here and there, but it's not consistent, And And you can't have consistency when you have guys playing all over the world. You know, you're not together as a team, and then you just come together for 2 weeks, you know, and then put a team together and figure, okay, all right, you're gonna have that sort of you're gonna have that sort of connection. No, it's hard. It's hard.
What about the fitness? What about fitness for West Indies players? You think our problems are really stem from players being mentally and physically fit?
No, I mean you can see. I mean you can see some of these guys. You know, the physique. You know, like the Evan Lewis, the same guy, Hetmeyer, Johnson Charles, and all of these guys. I mean, fitness is very, very important. Fitness is not only, you know, a physical thing, is also a mental thing. It helps your concentration, because cricket, when you're playing test matches, well, you have to concentrate for a long period of time. All right, you really have to be fit. And then sometimes, you know, taking 1, taking 2s, taking 3s, you know, it's a lot of energy. So you really have to be fit, and you can't just wait until you have a tour. You know what I mean? These guys are professional. These guys are making a lot of money. These guys can actually hire a personal trainer. A lot of these professional sportsmen and women, they have their own team, personal trainer, dietitian and all of that.
Yeah.
Because they understand the importance of all of these things. You know, being at your optimal level. You want to be there at all times, because this is a job. This is your job. It's your bread and butter.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like you have a 9 to 5. You have a 9 to 5. All right. You have a 9 to 5, and you go to work, and you expect you have a task that you're supposed to perform, and you're supposed to accomplish the task within a certain time, and you ain't getting your work done. You really think that they're gonna still have you there working? It's only West Indies cricket you see a lot of these guys, you know, year after year, these guys are not performing, and you know, but they're still in the team. But then the reason being is that when they go back to the local competition, the first class competition, they're the one dominating. So then the selectors don't have no choice, because there's no competition. And these guys know it. There's nobody better than me. you know what I mean? So these guys fool around. But I'm telling you, if you have like other guys who are like really knocking on the door and put pressure on these guys, a lot of these guys will be history. A lot of these guys, because back in the days, when we have so many players, back in the days when West Indies was dominant, West Indies could have a first team, a second team, and a third team, and still beat a lot of these international teams. Because I remember one time Windward Island beat England in St. Lucia. And that's when West Indies cricket was strong. You have a lot of guys who did not even make it to West Indies team, and it was until you have Kerry Packer. There's a Kerry Packer, and some of these guys were like they college through and end up captain the West Indies team and all that. And some of those guys who went to during the apartheid, some of those guys who went and played South Africa during the apartheid era. West Indies has so much talent. In the days you listen to first class cricket, when you hear guys like Merris and Ferris and fast bowler from Leewards, and these guys can get Luther Kelly, you know, Livingston Lawrence, you know, and these guys are like real ball beaters. You know, Lockhart Sebastian, all those guys. Lance John, all those people. Linton Lewis, and these guys couldn't even get a sniff. These guys don't get a sniff in.
True.
Not even a President 11.
No, when the President 11, they feel good, like they make West Indies.
Yeah, exactly. You make West Indies team. You know, I mean, the talent was so much, and you know, I think West Indies cricket, you know, like plum rose. You know what I mean? You know, everything just ripe up, and a rain come and everything just fall on one time. You know what I mean? You have a plumber who's through the bay, man. Everything just ripe and rain come, and then everything just one wash it. That's it, man. That's it. It's done. You know, but you know, I mean, we have to, you know, we in the West Indies, man. We have to really look at the whole restructuring. There need to be some serious, you know, restructuring of West Indies cricket, man. I really don't know what's the solution. What's the solution to the problem? But as many people think that, you know, with the invent of T10 and T20, it really affecting you know, like Test cricket and all of that, even affecting you know, guys' ability to play the longer version of the game, you know. And I mean, there's some truth to that, you know. And with the amount of money now, you know, in these shorter version of the game, you know, and you know, sometimes, you know, guys look at their livelihood, and you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you can't really fault these guys, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, the kind of treatment that, you know, they have seen that being melted out to past players, some of this guy, you know, decide, hey, listen, man, you know, I can't really bother West Indies cricket, you know, I just gotta go where the money is, and that's how it is. Because a lot of these guys, you know, living comfortably, the Chris Gale, you know, the Bravo, you know, Pollard, and all of these guys are set. These guys are comfortable, you know, because, you know, it's just like any organization, you know, you have a job and someone offer you, you're working for 100,000, or somebody offer you $1 million. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. You know, it's a no-brainer. But then, you know, in order, West Indies board have to take control of the resources. That's key. You understand? Because, hey, listen, if it's not for West Indies cricket, a lot of these guys, you know, their name would never mention, you know, in a lot of these leagues throughout the world. So it's all boiled down to the West Indies cricket board. You got to take control of your resources. You got to manage that, you know, make sure that you have all your best players available for, you know, your regional competition, you know, in order for you to have a strong West Indies team. And guys have to be playing together, you know, for a long period of time, so they can really build that coherency. You know, you have that, you know, that connection, you know, among players, you know.
One thing I just picked up on today, John Campbell was suspended from international cricket for 4 years, and the reason why he did not report his whereabouts, it's being somebody in that field, because some people may not understand why he being suspended. They put it down to discipline or something, but it's because he didn't report where he was for some time. So tell us a little bit of somebody being in international cricket, how you respond to that.
Well, I don't really understand the specific of that. I mean, because he have not reported his whereabouts.
Yes, that's
unless the thing about it, if you are on contract with West Indies cricket with the organization, and you basically getting paid, you know, by West Indies board, like let's say for instance you have a contract with them, you have to make yourself available.
Yeah, but just cut you off there. It's the Olympic Committee in Jamaica that do these things where you have to report where you are, so that, you know, they need you for a job test that you need to report to them.
Oh, yes. Well, no, because it's the local cricket board. The local cricket board, you got to report to the local cricket board, which is going to be in Jamaica, and then that report to be sent to the West Indies cricket board. So if he have not if he breached the contract, and then there's a penalty, I guess it's a breach of contract. You know, I think that it boils down to, because if you're not in contract with the West Indies board, then, you know, you don't have to tell West Indies or Jamaica cricket board where you are. So I guess apart, because I'm only saying because, you know, if there's a contract in place, then I don't know all the specific, you know, all the details as regards to the contract. But then, I mean, from what you're saying, it has to be that he probably breached a contract, and that's the penalty for breaching the contract.
Yeah, I think Russell was being punished for that as well a few years ago. Yeah.
And then now also, I mean, with the anti-drug you know, committee, you also have to, you know, do drug testing and all of that. is part of because I remember, being at Surrey, that was also in place when I was at Surrey, because many times I have to do drug tests, so yeah, I think that's exactly where the boiled down to. He just breached a contract, if he had to do a drug test, and because some of these guys, who knows, with all the money involved, sometimes you don't know, just to stay fit, and sometimes I just drink a juice and get ready.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're involved in that, you probably don't want to do no drug test. You probably try to hide. But I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying that he did. I'm just talking to myself. But as I said, he probably there's a contract in place, and he probably breached the contract, and I guess that's the penalty for breaching the contract.
Yeah. So finally, what do you think is our World Cup prospects?
First we got to get past the qualifiers.
we gotta actually get into the
You gotta get in. You gotta get in first. You know what I mean? So and it's gonna be difficult. It's difficult. I mean, the way that West Indies one time run hot and run cold, but then having said that, if these guys can string some consistent performance over the period of the World Cup, if they get into get past the qualifiers, I mean, they can spring some surprises. But hey, at the end of the day, T20s is any one game. It's just on your day. I don't think there is any clear favorite. When come to T20 and T10, is just at the end of the day, it's all about execution, how well the batsmen execute, how well the bowlers them execute, how well they read the condition, and play smart cricket, analyze the game, and play accordingly. Because sometimes I think that's one of the things that is lacking in West Indies cricket, is the way that they go about playing the cricket. I mean, in terms of analyzing the situation and play accordingly. It just seems like, most of these guys, not really using their head, because, sometimes it's just an easy mathematical situation. And sometimes they complicate it, where sometimes in a situation where you don't even need a boundary, you just need to knock the ball around, and you try to clear the boundary and you get out,
How would you assess those two games that they played there then?
Well, those two games, even though it's warm up, if you only lose inside, that's demoralizing. That's basically in terms of your confidence level. It does not do well for your confidence level. Regardless of the situation, you lost the game, no matter what, you can't tell me you feel good about losing, and you feel confident about losing. No one feel confident about losing, but those games that they lost, is just that they need to assess, look at the, review those games, see exactly where they went wrong, and how best they can improve, for the next game. Because as I always say, whatever mistake that if you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, then you're not gonna get better. So it's about, yes, you made a mistake. Next, you're not gonna make the next mistake 2-3 times, which means you're not really learning. So I just hope that they assess, and once you assess, then you have to go back to the drawing board. You got to go in the nets, and you got to work. You got to put the time in the nets, because they always say whatever you practice, whatever you do in the nets is actually the carryover, what you're going to carry over into the game, And sometimes, guys go in the nets and they fool around. They don't take it seriously.
Sure.
I think nets, you're supposed to take it real serious, because that's where you're trying to iron out all of your mistakes. So if you don't take it seriously, then you're You can't. It's serious business. So I just hope that they get past the qualifiers, and just wish them all the best. In the World Cup.
Any regrets for Cameron Curtly cricket wise? Apart from which you were 30 years younger to be.
No regret, man. No regret. I can't say, because at 52, I can't say, well, I wish I was 32. I probably might not even be playing cricket. You know what I mean?
True.
So I'm happy for the journey, for my journey. You know what I mean? Because I always believe that there's always a blueprint for everybody's life. There's a blueprint, you know what I mean? And it's just a journey that it's already there. It's just a matter of formality. You're just going through that journey. You know what I mean? As you go along life journey, sometimes you end up in places that you think that you shouldn't even end up, but then that's how it's supposed to be. That's where it's supposed to end up. You know what I mean? Because every time you start to question everything in life, man, sometimes it's too much energy. You know what I mean? So we just got to embrace it and move on. True. Because I never even think that I would be here talking to you today. But then yes, I was supposed to be here talking to you today. You know what I mean? Because it's all in nature's plan. You know what I mean? That we're supposed to be having this conversation today. You know what I mean?
Don't forget, I know you don't remember, but don't forget when we were little, you told me that you were gonna lick me down anytime I play against you. So
well, you see, that was all about being confident. It's all about being confident.
I was waiting for those kind of challenges too, but unfortunately I never really got the chance to.
Well, it was me being confident and trying to drive some fear into you.
Well, that's it. But also don't forget I was younger, when you're young and ignorant, because I used to feel when at practice time I'm at short leg feeling, because I didn't know the so I was looking forward to that challenge anyways.
It's all good time, man. It's all good fun,
Any new projects, anything that you want to share with us that you're doing?
Well,
I'm a bit private and relaxed right now.
No. Well, I mean, I always try to improve, at all times, trying to see a way I can improve myself, and it's more any project, it has to be more self development, in terms of try to learn and
acquire more knowledge
and that sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, man, life is good, man. You just gotta enjoy life, because as we see, so many of our people, of our friends, a lot of people that have passed. It's just that you have to always try to work on yourself, take good care of yourself, because I think sometimes, we focus on a lot of things like, having wealth. And a lot of people don't know that, the wealth is, our health is our wealth. People focusing on a lot of things. They invest, millions of dollars in cars and houses and all of that stuff. But then they neglect themselves, and then, they just pass away. And that's something, for all, listening, always pay attention to yourself and keep on working on yourself, go to the doctor, get a regular checkup, make sure everything is okay, and, rather than worrying about, tangible things, and, invest in yourself, whether it's be health-wise or, knowledge-wise. I think that is very important.
True.
So these are the things that I tend to try to work on. All the other things are possible. All the things are possible once you're healthy.
Sure. I'm gonna pass it to CP, but man, I just want to thank you for your time. First, let me thank you again for yourself, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Windward Island, and to a larger extent the West Indies cricket. You serve well. I'm glad you have no regrets in what transpired in your career. And we all enjoyed your career. You made us proud. Believe me when I say that. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to link up with you again. An absolute pleasure to have your story. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for your time. You'll be out of your busy schedule to, you know, you made us laugh. You gave us some history. You know. So. And I'm sure CP is gonna tell you that we want you back on here sometimes when we have a little cricket chit chat.
But anytime, man. You CP know to find me now. You know to find me. Anyway, thanks, man. Cheers, man. Thanks, man. It was a pleasure talking to you, man.
Before you go, okay, I just have this information for you from Cap Stevens. He said he think you should write a book because you have a lot of experience.
I mean,
he's keeping it.
I'm never. I mean, that's you know, that's something. Yeah. That's something I really think about. You know.
Of course, memoirs of Garner and Curtly.
Thanks for sharing that. That's something I really should you know, consider.
And my thing for you, I think you should come look forward to become a cricket commentator.
Well, I mean, the thing about that is that yeah, I won't mind. I mean, I did the last time I was in St. Vincent. I was in St. Vincent in March, and I actually had my first stint on the radio with Cecil Charles and Bramble, you know, during the BPL, and it's something that I enjoy. You know, and yeah, something I really, you know, will consider, you know, in the future.
And yeah, this is not your last time on Vincent Internet Radio. Sometime we're gonna have some cricket conversation.
Oh, absolutely, man. You know where to find me. You know where to find me. Just link me up.
Imparting what you want to leave for us.
Oh, I mean, in parting, I just like, you know, to say, you know, you guys are doing a wonderful job. You know, Vincent Internet Radio. You know, just continue the good work, and you know, let's try to get as much as you know, sports listener from St. Vincent, you know, on your program, you know, that we all can, you know, listen, and you know, they can share their experience, you know, during their journey. There are a lot of you know, Vincent sports personnel, you know, who will gladly like to be on this program, and we as listeners, you know, we like to, you know, learn, you know, from, you know, a lot of these personnel, you know, the journey, you know, to success. I know quite a few persons. I'm sure I probably might you know, try to get in touch with probably Ian Allen, Nixon, McLean, you know, try to get, you know, one of those guys, at least, you know, they can come and share their, you know, have a chat with you guys. And it's also good promotion, you know, for Vincent Radio, Vincent Internet Radio, you know. So, and we want this program, program to continue going for as long as possible. You know, because it's very entertaining. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of listeners who really enjoy listening. Thanks. All right, guys, man. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, and we stay in touch.
Yeah, same here.
All right, take care, guys. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.